Alright, here we go. This is my 2019 Scout Elite, as my friends call it, for its 40,000 mile review. See, I've done a few things to it. Batwing fairing, upgraded the exhaust, still keeping the high performance Scout or Indian exhaust. Upgraded my air intake. I have the Mootsie saddlebags, cargo box on the rear, put an extra larger seat on it for my wife. She didn't like how small the other one was. Upgraded my rear shocks. Now I have the Progressive 970s. They are just phenomenal. Speakers, as you can see, a few things. Cup holder, obviously that's something that's really needed. I've got front and rear footboards, upgraded, put a heel toe shifter on there, sound system, and then here in for the close shop. So hopefully you can see that. Just over 40,000, almost a little over 41,000 actually. So here's my Ian Scout 40,000 mile review. And we'll get back to it in just a second here. Just giving you a little bit to see what's been done. As you see, we've done a few things to my Scout. We already went over that in the first part of the video. Some extra bar end weights, helps with vibration. This Scout has really performed for me quite well. I really haven't had any issues with it. My biggest issue is so small. One of the rivets on the kickstand wore out, and I replaced that myself with a Chicago screw from my horse tack. And so that's one of my really big deals. Other than that, the bike has performed phenomenally. 40,000 miles, ride it almost every day, ride it on the weekends, do 300-400 mile trips on it. Rode out to Pullman, Washington, over to Idaho. Rode to Pullman, Washington from my house in one pull, a little over 1,200 miles. Did great out there. Full saddlebags, everything was filled up, had a huge backpack on here. Just really did well on the road. Yeah, it's a little lighter bike. Do I want a Roadmaster? Yes. But have I bought one? Yeah. Right now, that's not in the finances, so instead I took a Scout that I could ride back and forth to work, build it up to a Roadmaster, and travel with it when I want to. Like I say, it's been doing really well for me. There's really no downside, except for, if anything, I don't like the rim sizes. They handle well, but it doesn't allow you very many options as far as high quality tires. I know that in the normal world, for most baggers, most people love bias ply, and they want high mileage, and they consider that high mileage is that's where you're getting your performance. High mileage to me means low performance. Tire doesn't grip well. I've gone through several different types of tires and finally found a set of radials that are really working well for me, front and rear. And they ended up, now they're both Shinkos again. The Shinko bias plies were by far the best so far as running a bias ply. Run a few different styles, trying to get what I want. And if I could get up to a 17-inch rim, if these had 17-inch rims on them, yeah, I'd run a Michelin radial instead. It's not an option, so I went with what was available and what was the best for me. As far as the Scout is going, as its review, 40,000 miles, doing wonderful, handles nicely, no issues. I mean, it hasn't given me any problems taking in for the maintenance. Do a lot of my own oil changes. Changed over to Schaefer oil. That is a 2050 weight blend. The Scout comes with a 1560, and did reduce my temperatures by my temperature gauge. In an average over the whole week of testing that, it was 10 degrees less. And what I also noticed is that when I did get up to the high temperatures, higher from being stopped and stuck in traffic, and it would get up kind of high, it would come down quickly again. It came down faster than it did with the stock oil that Indian had supplied. And the only reason I tried it was some of the guys from Indian are having issues. They're not getting the 2050 weight oil in their bikes anymore. It was put in from Indian. They're now using the Scout oil. I don't know why that is. I still see it available on the website, but that's what they're saying. And their temperatures are a little too high. They can feel their leg on fire. I know it's summertime, so you're going to get a little more heat. That's just how it is. But here's my Scout, Batwing fairing. Installed that. Put a sound system on it. Put the highway bars, the footboards. Upgraded my brake pedal. I didn't like that was the only thing I didn't like. The stock one is the rubber, and I found that when it would rain or even just be dewy out, your foot could slip off it easily. So I went with a Kirakian foot peg on there for my brake pedal, and then these are Kirakian as well. So they're been really working out for me. Added some extra lighting to it. I put them a little wide because I want to see the sides of the road. So before I go into an area and going to turn in or turn off, turn into a parking lot or turn off the road, I can kind of see it a little bit. The upgraded headlight that I have on it from Indian is really working really quite well. The stock one was pretty kind of pathetic that they had on there. I upgraded it to an aftermarket one. It was really pretty good, way better than the stock one. And now this one is the upgraded one made by Indian, and it's even far superior than the other one I put on. The bike is, like I said, it's performed really well. I'm not too big on the talking, but this is one of my talking videos. But that's what we're here for, is review the bike. Like I said, again, it's been doing really well for me. 40,000 miles, no issues. It's a little low to the ground. I'm not really that fast of a rider, but I still drag my exhaust on the lower. I changed it. I thought it was one of the corners I had taken. There was a dip in there, and I smashed it. I changed the header, put on that. I like the heat wraps on the exhaust. It really reduces the heat, and if you accidentally touch your leg on it, you don't burn your pants, you don't burn your leg even. And I removed the shields because they kind of got a little too hot. But this you can actually touch. You can actually bump into it, and you're not going to get welted or burn your pants. Does it still get hot? Yeah, it does. But it's not metal. It had the same hot temperature that the metal would be if it was exposed. And it helps performance. It allows the exhaust to flow. It keeps it hot and makes it flow faster. That's one of the reasons why you wrap your exhaust. And if you had a carbureted vehicle, if your bike was carbureted, you'd know that just by once you wrap it, you have to rejet them. Being fuel injected, and it has an adjusting system, it compensates for that, and it works just fine. Can't really say more. Like I said, I've done all the upgrades pretty much myself. Saddlebags are really working out there from Mutsi. This was just an aftermarket, something off of eBay for like 60 bucks, and it's really worked out quite well. I like having the rack on the top. I put a lunch bag up there so I don't have to break out my tools. If I just want to break out my keys and try to get in and unlock something, I can just open it up and grab some more water or food and keep going. And I do rides that are anywhere from 200 to 500 miles. When I'm with other people, yeah, usually they're right around about maximum 200 miles round trip or less. People aren't just into just cruising. I want to see road, and I want to see places and just see the sights. And I don't even go that fast. I'm really not that fast of a rider. However, I will say I did not like the stock tires that came with this bike. They were Night Dragons. They slid so bad. At 30 mile an hour turns, going through Fallbrook to the Duluth Road. This bike was sliding, front and rear just sliding. At least it only felt like it was only about 8 to 9 inches. It would slide a little bit and kind of catch. But I'm not on a race bike. I'm not on the track. On the track, I'm used to throwing the bike in, sliding the front end tire, cranking on the throttle, bringing it around, and pitching it right around the corner and keeping it going. Yeah, that's on a racetrack. I'm not on a racetrack, so I don't like it when my stock tires and I'm not going fast, they slide. Tried several different compounds. Went over to the Shinkos, one of the other sizes, and I didn't like the size of the tires that I could get in the radial. Went back and forth with different compounds, different tires. Went over the 777s, and as far as a bias ply, the 777s really worked well. I'm not a fan of bias ply. I understand most guys who run the big cruisers, they love bias ply. Not a fan of it. I love bias ply on horse trailers and hauling trailers because they don't move around. They're so rigid and they give so much feedback, but they're stable. On a bike, I'm looking for traction. I don't want my tires creating tons of vibration in my bike and making it a rough ride. I want to smooth it out. I want that tire to track with the ground. I want better traction. I'm not looking for super high mileage. You would think I would at doing 40,000 miles in a year and 5 months. I bought this bike in April 2019, and now we're near the end. Yeah, it's getting. So I want better traction. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for higher traction. In these, and I've had an Avon front and a Storm, and it worked really well. It was a rear tire. It was the only way I could get the tire sizes in radials for front and rear, and something that would give me what I wanted. I couldn't get a good front radial in the stock size tire, so I had to go larger on that, and so I went larger on the rear. I actually have a rear tire up front right now, and I've gone back over to both being Shinkos. I have a Shinko Verge up front and a Shinko 890 the Journey rear, and it's tracking great. It gives me great performance, great traction, and if I get 8,000 miles out of a tire, that's pretty good. I find that fine. I don't. And for most guys, I can't understand why they want more than that. They're not riding that many miles on their bikes in several years, and they'd already have to change their tires. After 2 to 3 years, you need to change your tires anyway. They're getting old. They're getting hard. They're not going to give you the traction and the stability, and the likelihood of them failing is higher. Really on a car, more than 10 years old, they gotta go. Even if they've never been driven, parked them the whole time. After 6 years on a bike, they have to go. You have to let them go. If they're over 6 years old, they're too old. The rubber's deteriorated. You're really taking some big chances, especially if you like to push some speed. But I like to have traction, so I go with radials. And when I went through, I go through with the Ortegas, and I go through Duluth Road. They really handle quite well. So that's pretty much the end of that. Hope you like the fact that we were able to put 40,000 miles in just under 2 years. Hopefully, my wife wants to take the bike over, and she says I need to have the Challenger. Oh, you're hurting my arm. It's really twisting my arm. But she really likes the Scout and True Legs, how well it rides for herself. I think after watching her going to the school and after watching her take us through some of the mountain roads, she loves the twisties. She can't stand straight lines. They give her anxiety if we're just going straight somewhere. So watching her go through that was pretty good. She really came up. I think she could handle the bigger bike, although I know the clutch on some of the bigger bikes might be a little too hard for her to pull in. And I had to switch this back to the stock springs after switching over to a Barnett clutch. I loved the Barnett clutch, and I loved how the springs were, and I loved how it grabbed, but it was too stiff for her, so I had to put the stock ones back in. And other than that, she likes it, and she's able to ride it, and she enjoys it, and she plans on taking it to work now and then when that comes up. So the bike is doing well, and it's gotten her to want to have her own bike, and she wants to take this bike over. And for a starter bike, or even going back and forth to work, this is a really nice bike to go on, easy to maneuver through traffic. It's water cooled, and that's what I really wanted. I wanted a big bike. The Roadmaster, not being water cooled, wasn't going to work for me to go taking it back and forth to work. The Challenger, now that it's out, yeah, I could see taking the Challenger back and forth to work. That would be a nice bike. And it just kind of depends on how we figure things out, whether we're going to do that or not. All right, so we've got the water, definitely have to put one of these on your bike. Something to drink your coffee in the morning when you're going to work, or just on a cold morning when you're out with your group. So that's about it. It's been doing really well. The bike has performed admirably. And at 40,000 miles, I don't have any issues. Thank you for watching, and hope you have just as good luck with your bike as I am with mine, and hopefully you can have better. Have fun.